I have made my decision, friends. I have decided to give up my customs. From a French subject, I would like to become a French citizen under the empire of French law. I have thus decided to give up my caste name Pillai. From today onwards, I would like to be called Laporte. This symbolic name that I have decided to take opens the door to a better future for my brothers and sisters from lower caste who have been oppressed for centuries. From now on, my only mission would be to defend the most underprivileged. He stopped, satisfied with his speech, and glanced questioningly at his companions. Taken aback, they didn't quite know how to react to this decision. Embracing the republican values of the colonizers was one thing, but rejecting the system was quite another. Ponuthambi Pillai was far from giving up his caste name. For centuries, they have been mistreated and rejected by the higher caste. The arrival of French people had changed their destinies. They now belong to a new elite created recently by colonization. Given the same status as traditional upper caste, they rejoiced a privileged people for 2 centuries. Giving up everything to be on the same level as the pariahs was unthinkable. Taking advantage of the silence, Ejumalai got up and said to Ponuthambi Pillai, "What does Laporte mean?" His tone was insolent. "Laporte? A door? What else?" "What? A door? As in Kadavu?" "Yes, Kadavu. Kadavu in Tamil and port in French." Ponuthambi Pillai looked a bit annoyed. "You haven't understood the explanation?" "Yes, but it's funny to choose such an insignificant name." Irritated by the rude comment, Ponuthambi Pillai raised his voice. "Oh yes? After everything I just said, you find this name insignificant?" "I think yes." Ejumalai put his little finger in his right ear and rubbed hard. "Now that we are talking about it, I also want to renounce." "Good idea, but this is not the town hall. In any case, we have to wait for a few months for the law to be implemented. You have all the time you need to think about it." Feeling seriously challenged, Ponuthambi Pillai turned towards his friends, looking at him furiously. Louis Rasandran was feeling uncomfortable and tried to push Ejumalai towards the door. No luck. Ejumalai refused to budge. Since you stopped starting again, since you have chosen a French name, give me one also." Ejumalai's request was met with an embarrassing silence. He went to the group and throwing his tundu over his shoulder said, "Since Ponuthambi Pillai has chosen Laporte as his patronym, I will change my name to Fenêtre." As the guest left discreetly, Ponuthambi Pillai was still, watching the confronted one leave in sadness and anger. A few months later, all of Pondicherry would recall Ejumalai's act of renunciation. The village cock lost his feathers when Ejumalai left his village early. Scared that the cock would wake up the entourage and that his neighbors would reach the town hall before him, Ejumalai tried to catch it before he crowed. But the sly bird escaped from his hand and ran down the alley like a headless chicken, crying out stridently in a cloud of feathers. The entire village woke up. When he reached the town hall, surrounded by an unruly crowd, Ejumale was in a strident mood. He would have liked to be the first one to renounce in the village. All the way from Ujavarkare to the town, he was taken aback by questions he didn't know how to answer. The renunciation. Apart from the new elite of Villala, the rest of the population had no idea what this meant. Some thought that from then onwards they would have the same rights as the white people and they would dress like them. Others pretended that they would become French citizens, leave their country, and go to France. A fair amount of people started talking about this among themselves. When his turn came, Ejumale looked at the government employee high-headedly, and if the latter was the fool of the village. Name? Asked the employee without looking at him. Ejumale. Profession? None. Caste? Mudaliar. The employee frowned without looking at Ejumale. Have you chosen a name? Yes. Fenêtre. What? Fenêtre? The employee lifted his head up for the first time. He looked straight at the averagely tall man who was well dressed. His hair was well brushed, his shirt and immaculately white vesti was a class apart from the other candidates. Compared to most of the aspirants before him, a certain assurance emanated from this individual, who was standing confidently. The employee put his pen down on the table and looked him straight in the eye. And may I know why fenêtre? Why not terrace, pilier, or chambre? He asked teasingly. Why not? Ponuthambi Pillai chose la porte, he said defiantly. Oh yeah, now I understand. Ponuthambi Pillai had a reason for choosing his name. What is yours? Well, I don't have one. I don't think that should be a reason for renunciation. The employee looked a little amused and broke the familiarity. He took on a serious air and started looking at his files again. No, I cannot accept this. Choose another name and hurry up. There are other people waiting. Ejumale lost his confidence and seemed disappointed. Not knowing what to do, he turned toward his companions who couldn't understand what was going on. They could do nothing to help. As he turned, his gaze fell upon a portrait hanging on the wall. He looked at the picture and asked, "Who is this?" Surprised by the question, the employee turned mechanically towards the wall. That is Napoleon the Emperor. His hesitant voice accepted the worst. Give me his name then, Emperor Napoleon. He turned sideways and, like the emperor, put his right hand on his abdomen. 2 minutes later, he was on the footpath of the barrack of the sepoys, the back of his vesti marked by the footprint of the employee. The mission civilisatrice was unfolding in an alarming way.